Hello, I'm back from PAX, and I thought it'd be good to do a video sort of recapping how things went. And overall, I think things went really well. We got a lot of people who played the demo and loved it, and we also did a couple other initiatives. Like we printed out cards and handed them out to just pretty much anyone, because we figured the cards are reasonably cheap, like 3 cents a piece. And, if I think like 1 in 330 people who receive a card purchase the game, then it was probably worth it, just because everyone's busy at PAX and just walking by you might not check out a game, but, if you have the card, maybe you throw it out, maybe you look at it later. Ordinarily, I've ordered like 4,000 cards, I think, is my max for previous packs, and this time I ordered 5,000, and we were pretty much through them after the second day. So we actually printed up at like a print shop 6,000 more cards, and pretty much gave them all away. Whether it's a good return on investment or not, it's really hard to say, but I think, it's not hugely expensive, usually you get a volume discount, so had I printed up, like 11,000 at once, then it probably would have, paid off. Probably would have been even cheaper, so I don't know, maybe next time I'll get like 15,000 or 20,000, I don't know, maybe that'll be like $300 or something. I don't know. But potentially for spreading the word about something, it seems pretty effective. So that went pretty well. Obviously, again, I'm sure there's some cards that are getting thrown out and some cards that will never be looked at, but I think it's definitely helpful. The other thing was we got pins, which are a popular thing at PAX, and we gave out pins, but when we gave them out, we asked to, type up people's email addresses, not to sign them up for a mailing list, but just to send them an email when the game is released later this month. And I think that was a smart idea, and we collected like 1,094, so 1,100 email addresses, and maybe they're not all going to purchase the game, but I think for Steam, day one sales is important, and so we have people who are at least interested in the game that will know the game is released, on the first day. So that's something. Anyway, hopefully that'll work out. And the pins weren't hugely expensive, and we had about 1,200 of those, and pretty much gave them all out. But it was interesting because when we were basically out of pins, we just asked people to sign up, and people were more than happy to sign up because they were interested in the game, which is obviously a good sign. So even if you don't want to like reward signups with pins, or you don't want to make pins, it's good to have a way for people to sign up. And it's also important that it's not on paper, because I did a paper sign up for the last PAX Prime when we were doing our Kickstarter. And it was a disaster because I couldn't really read everyone's email addresses, and I had to type them all up. And so what we did is we got this eye capture app and ran it on 2 tablets, and then had people type in their thing. And eye capture is not like a super great app. It's basically like a web control, but it allows offline capture, and it's cross-platform, so we didn't have to bother developing something that works, because one of our tablets was iOS and the other was Windows. So that, I think, was a really smart idea. We also had 4 basically sort of isolation booths, and we built this pipe framed thing with cloth to try and make things scarier. and then we had 4, stations running. And the way we built it, we had a 10 by 10 booth, and we built essentially a 10-foot by 7-foot structure that was also about 7 feet high. And we had like a booth that was like 3 feet wide, and then a booth that was 4 feet wide. And the 4-foot wide section had 2 chairs, and the 3-foot section had 1 chair. And initially we just had 1 headset for the back units, but we noticed that a lot of people were bringing their friends in, which is kind of interesting, I think, because we had a line. Basically, we had a line all the time, almost all the time. I think there was like Friday at lunchtime we had some free units, but otherwise we basically had a line the entire time, and the enforcers were basically like kicking people out of line sometimes because they were getting in the way of the hall. So I mean, we really got a lot of people through, and people waited a significant amount of time to play the game, which I think is a good thing. And our demo was probably on the long side, like 15 to 20 minutes, which I don't know if it was the best decision ever, but I think I feel pretty happy with our demo, all things considered. Again, I'm not like super pleased with it because of the pacing and blah blah blah, but I think to get a good taste of the game, it was a good snippet. But so a lot of people came in two at a time, which, like if it were me, and I just waited in this really long line, I probably would just be like, yeah, I'll wait for another one to open up, because we did have 4. But a lot of people went in with their friends, which is kind of interesting, because I think, especially with the prevalence of Twitch and YouTube, I think people almost like the communal aspect of horror. And I think, like, if you see a horror movie, well, my wife doesn't really like them, so I don't see many in the theaters, but it is kind of fun to see them in the theaters when everyone's screaming, and you feel like you're part of something. And so I think horror is an interesting genre, especially because some people are too afraid to play the game but enjoy watching. So a lot of people mention that. So I wish we would have sort of designed more for allowing multiple people to play the game. Allowing multiple people to more easily view the game. So, like, for example, I think it would have been cool had we had more chairs, so more people could see it, but also more headsets, like 2 headsets per demo station, which we eventually did get 2 headsets for the 2-seaters. But sometimes people didn't want to wait, or we weren't really offering it because we're trying to tear through our line because it was getting too long, or so. It would have been great had we had 2 headphones for the front units as well. Even though they only sat one person, a lot of times someone would stand or crouch. And really, I think the audio is the strongest part of Neverending Nightmares. So it's a bummer not everyone got to experience it. Although I think sometimes people swap headphones and whatnot. Certainly we got some press coverage. We didn't get someone to stop by from every site that I was hoping for, but we did get some good ones. We already have a Game Informer article up. We had something on Vice magazine. I think there's going to be at least the guy from Joystick, Sam Prell, tweeted about how he thought it was cool, and talked to him for a bunch, so maybe something will go up there. I think Joe talked to someone from Destructoid, so we might get something there. I did some interviews, video interviews. I think there's going to be a significant amount of buzz in terms of press coming out of it, and also we have a number of press plans for the month of September, the current month, because, you know, our release date. So we have a new trailer we've been working on that's just amazing, that we're going to launch probably when we announce our release day, which we don't know yet, or, yeah, probably not. I don't know. I sometimes upload these out of order, but if you ask me today, I don't know when our release date is. As far as, you know, figuring out when that is, I mean, we're hopefully not too far away from doing that. So I mean, all in all, I think we did a good job with packs. Certainly, printing up more cards would have been nice. That we did a few button designs. Let's see if I have the extras. I don't know if I even kept extras of all of them, which was probably a bad idea. So let's see. Well, here's one. Here's an inmate. Is this camera going to focus on it? I don't know. Maybe not. There. So the inmate is one of them. Well, I guess he's not an inmate as much as he's a patient. And we have a baby. So, the most popular one was this one. Well, I don't really know what to call her, but doesn't look like she's in good shape. And then I actually printed these up for PAX East, but they didn't get there in time. It's similar, but not as cool. And then finally we just had the logo on a pin. And so it's interesting because the same buttons were, you know, the buttons sort of went in an order, and it was pretty consistent what people were choosing. So the number one button was the little girl with the bleeding eye sockets. When that went out, then people were choosing the little girl bleeding from the mouth. Then it was the inmate, and then, or patient or whatever, I don't know. Some people call him a zombie. He's not exactly a zombie, but then the baby, and finally the Neverending Nightmares logo. But I did have like twice the amount of Neverending Nightmares logos, but I mean, it was pretty clear that people really favored, I think, you know, the ones with blood, you know, rather than just monochromatic. I guess I can get back on camera. The ones with blood rather than just the monochromatic ones were sort of the first choice, and I mean, I think the image of the little girl with the, you know, bleeding eyes is very striking, and the sad little girl is a good second choice. So I actually changing the icon for our game to something sort of along the lines of the bleeding eyes girl on Steam, just because I think that's, you know, more interesting, although I don't even know where it uses the icon, but might as well, you know, try and create a cool sort of branding. So I guess that's it for my PAX wrap-up. As you can tell, my voice is still a little raspy, but I think overall the event went well, and I mean, hopefully we can sort of ride a press and PR and you know, buzz wave into the actual release of the game. So anyway, thanks for watching.